Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, Scott and Jim, you're both there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, and Scott? Oh, I thought I heard Scott too.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm here.
okay,
Okay, you
great.
guys are on speaker in the room, just so you know. We're all here.
You know what, Scott?
Sorry, I had somebody at my...
Scott, how about I text you when you need to call in, because we have two presentations, one from our counselors and one from our learning center. That way you can do other work that you need to do. It'll probably be about a half an hour, I would say, and then I can text you to get on again for the budget.
Either way, I mean, I'm fine. I can work and just
Okay.
put myself on mute. That's
Perfect, perfect. Okay.
Is Parisa coming? Do you know?
She's not, she's,
All right. Okay. Do you want to call the meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay. 6:02.
Do we have a quorum?
Yep.
Okay. And so we just mentioned that Vince had resigned. So one of the board members, Vince Martinez, had resigned. So we do have a quorum. And then was there any public comment or communication today? Didn't sound like it.
I don't know about the other learning centers, but not here.
yeah, Marty, can you make sure if the other learning centers don't have someone? Perfect.
Can't we talk to him?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, they're right there in that little box, aren't they?
I can't see the box.
Does anybody have public comment? There's only Lompoc and Lompoc.
There's just Lompoc. Laurel,
Do
we
you
need
guys
to
have
get
public
everyone else.
comment?
They said they're there, they're listening.
Okay.
All the other centers can hear us?
As far as
Yeah,
I'm looking
through-
at it, no one in Lompoc has a public comment, no one in Santa Barbara, no one in Buellton.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Is this working the way it's supposed to?
Mhm.
Okay. Just want to make sure that we have everybody, like all
Yeah.
the centers can hear us and,
The only person I'm waiting for is.
The Jamboard is different, so like
Okay.
Jamboard is just for the public comment, and then the
Okay.
live streams through YouTube.
okay.
They have both.
Sure, sure, okay. Just as long as everybody can hear us and we're good. All right,
Okay.
good. So no public comment. So approval of the action agenda.
I'll move that we approve the action agenda.
And I guess I'll second. Jim, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. And consent agenda to approve the board meeting minutes from January.
I'll move that we can approve the consent agenda.
And I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
I guess actually, we could have,
That's okay, we can
yeah.
still.
So there's actually no need to do a closed session, so we're gonna skip agenda items 7 and 8 and 9 to go to a closed session and then come back. And then we're actually gonna do things a little bit out of sequence. For reports, we're gonna let the counselors go first,
Mm-hmm.
if they are ready.
Laurel, did you want me to forward is Laurel back there? Oh. I can forward your PowerPoint if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be good, so everyone can see.
I think we're gonna, in the future, maybe we just do the tables off to the side, 'cause it's.
Oh, that's a good idea. Then you guys
We
can
don't
see.
need like a table, we could just kinda go something.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Because you're the ones we want.
Yeah, this is for you, not for us.
Can you see okay there?
Yeah, it's like I'm at the front row of the movie.
Well, maybe while Laurel's out, you guys can at least say who you are and what learning
Sorry,
center you
Sam
work
Lewis
at.
is having trouble.
Ah,
Okay.
okay.
Do they have a public comment?
They don't have a public comment.
Okay. Okay.
Do we just wanna have them use the call-in number?
No, they'll get it because Marty will help them. I think this will be fine.
Yeah, I'll just start by just saying, this is our counseling team. We asked them to come and actually be here so you can meet them. They wanna talk about some of the exciting new things they've been doing. Just so that you guys know the background, 3 years ago we started with 2 counselors.
I'm sorry, I just need to interrupt real quick. So the center that doesn't have access, is there anyone other than
No.
the
Maudie's-
director that's there?
No.
Just the director.
And
Okay,
Maudie's
I
getting
just
her
wanna make sure
on.
nobody's sitting there trying.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or no
Thanks for
parents or-
checking.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So 3 years ago, we only had 2 counselors. So we have expanded our counseling team to now have quite a bit more support because of the needs that we saw for our students here. The population that tends to come to our school need a lot of counseling support. So they are gonna give you an update of what they've been doing this year at their centers.
Will you guys introduce yourselves for
Yeah.
us, please? And like what center? Is it in the slides?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
We,
Oh,
I'm
the-
Jenny, I'm from Santa Barbara.
There you go. I'm Angelica, I'm also at the Santa Barbara Center as well.
Breland Salazar, I'm in SLO and a little bit in Santa Maria.
Susie Bautista, and I'm here in Santa Maria.
Geraldo Arellano, I'm here in Santa Maria.
Amber Manco, Lompoc, and Bealton.
All right.
So, counselors work with students in basically 3 domains, 3 areas, and we're backed by the association, National Association of School Counselor. And their model is that we work with students with their academics, social, emotional, and college and career.
Do you want me to forward it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So academic domain, so these are a few things that we do here, but because we are a smaller school than a traditional school, we have the opportunity to monitor student progress and their academics, and we work together with the research teacher, the counselor, the advisor, and the director to formulate a plan, an intervention plan for the student in order for them to have academic achievement, and we offer that support. And we also have the tutors here on campus that can also offer that support and get achievement, the academic achievement for the student. So we have a close team working together for the students and increasing their academics.
So go to the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I don't know how to get backwards on this.
We're not done back.
Just the back arrow.
Okay. So personal and social and emotional, I feel like is a real big one. We have the opportunity to be super accessible to our kids versus the traditional school where the ratios are a large amount of students to one counselor. So I could speak for at least Santa Barbara, and I know like all of us, we get to know each individual student on a very different basis. In our initial meeting with them, we give them more time than maybe they've even had time at their school that they're at for 4 years. So just right off the bat, that's amazing. We get to hear their stories, and it's amazing what these kids have been through. So just kind of how Laurel said in the initiation, like these kids come to us with stories behind them and reasons why they come to us. So it's just a really cool part of our job to be there for them.
And some of the things we offer are highlighted up here are group counseling that all of our centers hold weekly, and that was brought on based on a needs assessment for families and students at the beginning of this year. So based on topics that they showed us need in, we've been providing weekly counseling where students can come access one or both counselors in a group setting, as well as at the bottom we mentioned special education counseling. This year we moved to a one-on-one on-site model for any student with an IEP that receives counseling as part of their services. They get that in person, whatever their IEP details for those minutes. We get to know the family, the parents. We work really closely with the resource teacher and specialist. So like Angelica mentioned, but from day one when they step into our doors, we already know, like Laurel mentioned, that these students come a lot of times with a lot of baggage or just high needs. And because we get to know them on that one-on-one level, and because as counselors we're much more accessible than a traditional model, we're able to serve those needs. And the school has given us so much support and flexibility to come up with different activities like weekly wellness activities. Some of the centers we do yoga, hiking, the group counseling, and we just bring in as many community connections as possible with public speakers, mentors, college and career speakers, and the support from the district office and from our individual directors has been amazing just to be able to bring these programs, and they've kind of let us run with the counseling department and build it up to what it's been the last 2 years when we started adding. It's been really amazing.
All right, so college and career. this year we implemented where our 9th graders take a course called Get Focused, Stay Focused. It is a concurrent enrollment course through Hancock College and I think Santa Barbara City College. So they are getting dual enrollment credit for this. And in the course, it's really just teaching them how to make good decisions on career and planning for their future. And the course culminates in a 10-year plan where they're mapping out their education plan for the next 10 years and then basically the steps that they need to get there. Some of the key things that we're touching in the class are finding their passions and their skills. We have a whole finance section, looking at the lifestyle they want, career exploration, setting goals, also doing job applications and resume writing and interview skills. And then this year we also took students on a lot of different college tours. We've been to Cal Poly, UCSB, Westmont College, Hancock, and Cuesta.
Okay. We have a really cool opportunity to have a really close relationship with our community colleges. Like we said, Santa Barbara City College, Hancock, and Cuesta. We can really promote the promise, the 1 year free, and help facilitate the process of giving the promise, which I think is really intimidating to a lot of students, especially the students that we serve. So I think that's a huge thing for us. We also have a close relationship with the Department of Rehab to help IEP students with that transition from our school into the world. So that's important. And then our college and career support labs, we're available. I know I am in SLO on Fridays. All the students know that I'm available to help them with anything college and career. So you need a work permit, you need help with FAFSA, you need even job applications, college applications. I'm available to help them with that. A lot of our students don't have that parent support or just an adult that knows how to help them get to that next level of education. So, yeah. Next one.
Okay. Jim, can you hear this or are they too far away?
Most of it.
Okay, okay. Try to talk louder for Jim. Thanks. Okay.
And we do other stuff too.
Okay, good.
No, I would say just the biggest thing is just like how much one-on-one time we have with the students. Like pretty much everything's been said already, but the biggest thing is just like it's not a great plan. So a lot of times when students come to us for their first orientation meeting, we don't just have like a class list ready for them, and this is what you're going to be taking. We don't actually pick out the classes until the end of the meeting. So it's just kind of like, do you like to select it? Are you cool with these classes? Is everything okay? And then after that, we go through everything else. So just like the individualization of it.
There's another slide.
Okay.
Awesome photos from programs and trips we've been able to take.
Nice.
And one thing to add just that popped into my head after Geraldo just spoke was that I like to think of our school as, or I guess other traditional models try to take the student and fit them to a mold of a traditional site. It's kind of like you get what you get. But here we're able to take the student and the family and make the school model fit to them. It's kind of the way I see Olive Grove, and we're kind of the first face that they meet when they come enroll in our school. So that opportunity is really special to work with them and get them where they want to go.
Yeah, we're really pleased and proud to have all of these exceptional counselors.
Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you guys for putting this on and doing this. I know Angelica lives in Oxnard, so this is not a short drive for her to come down here. Jenny's in Santa Barbara, so we all. I think this is a really good team. We've been able to use a lot of online technologies to collaborate, so they're constantly chatting each other all day long and asking questions, probably closer than some counselors that work in the same building with each other. So it's been a really great fit for most of them.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have a question. You mentioned that you do some tours of schools. Do you do any virtual tours like for online colleges? I just would think, and so let me know if this is a true, in my mind, like we're an online education, and so I would think that model would be very comfortable to the students, and then there's a lot of very well credentialed and respected universities now that are offering online. So do we explore any of those curriculum.
We've got some reps that come in and meet with us, like Laura's College and Chapman, and a lot of those schools have done
Okay.
it, but.
And I've sent links out, like, students will ask about certain fields that they want to go into, and I've found online colleges. And I mean, the websites themselves are amazing, so you can just send a link.
I mean,
like,
I
it
look
takes you
at
through.
Penn State, University of Arizona, there's University of Ohio, like there's some really top, University of Alabama, there's some really well-known and some of the top tier schools have full, online programs. And then, of course, we're all familiar at Hancock, and even our community college at least kind of help them get started if they wanted to kind of maybe not run before they walk, right? Kind of go to college, but still do local and online and all that kind of.
And that is something they do. They do the online college now, so getting kids starting right now, and that's the whole process they go through with them too. Yeah.
As someone who finished their MBA all online, so I know it works and it can be a good thing. So. Anyway.
Yeah, just like Bree mentioned, how depending on what the student's interested in, because of our like awesome ratios with the students, the numbers, we have the time to sit down with them and help them research programs, and a lot of times that is in an online college. And then for me, at least, it's a lot of times like banking that information for the next student that brings up that interest. Like, oh, I have the perfect online U of A program that I know offers this.
Yeah, I mean, you can get even engineering degrees from ABET accredited universities are out there, so it's pretty amazing that everything that's out there nowadays. So. Cool.
Especially for colleges.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for mentioning that.
You betcha. Thank you for all that you're doing for the students in the school. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Thank you for driving and traveling here.
Yes.
It's a good trip.
Anything that you need from us as the board? No. Okay.
You are well supported.
Good. Very good. Thanks.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for coming and supporting. I know, you're next.
So you're welcome to stay or go ahead and travel home depending on what you guys want to do. Those of you in Santa Barbara and Oxnard might want to get on the road, but you're welcome to stay.
You're welcome to leave. You're welcome to stay.
Us from down south are gonna come.
Yeah, that's
We're glad to be here.
travel safe when it's light out. For sure.
Yeah, before it rains.
That's a good point.
Yeah, do this. Is that okay, or do you guys want to? Okay. Okay.
You'll know what to do.
I'll do this. I'll try to move back.
I'll do like
Okay.
Thank you, I saw.
baseball.
Thank you guys. Bye.
All right, so I'm Janae Gutierrez. I'm the director of the Santa Maria Learning Center.
And I'm Carissa Campbell. I'm a English teacher here and the rep for this campus, teacher rep.
So we're just going to tell you a little bit about just some highlights from our center this year. So from last year, we noticed that with elementary families, the parents needed a bit more support at home, maybe more support in how to teach their students what we're sending them home with. So our teacher at the beginning of the year, our elementary specialist at the beginning of the year, decided to offer parents 2-hour classes where maybe 3 at the most is what we have right now. So 3 students and 3 parents would come in for 2 hours. And during those 2 hours, those parents could look over the work that they worked on the past week, go through the work, say, okay, this was correct, this was incorrect, go to the teacher, look over it with the teacher as well. And at the same time, the teacher would lead a lesson on what they're currently working on that week. So they'd go over sight words for the week, they would maybe pull out some worksheets that are actually in their homework packets, and they would lead a lesson in their current work week. And we found that what would happen is the parents would be able to listen in and actually pick up, how to teach that lesson at home. Because oftentimes, like sight words, if I'm teaching sight words in a creative way and the parents are watching that, that's something they could do with the next set of sight words. So at the end of the semester, we saw growth in attendance from more parents and guardians. So like before we started this model, like I know a wife of one of the students would come in every week by herself, but then once we started this model, the husband would come in as well every single week, just because he liked coming to the classroom, he felt more involved, and like it was more like they were missing out on something if they weren't here. And then at the end of the semester, we asked the parents if they would want to do this again and come in for 2 hours, because they are coming in extra, and that's by choice. And they all said yes. So they've really been loving it. The students have been loving it. They've gone to each other's birthday parties now, which they didn't have before. They, might not have even known that somebody in their same grade existed at Olive Grove.
So it's just been really great. You can see even in the pictures, just, you know, they're all looking at each other. The parents are both looking at what the teacher and the students are talking about. So it's very involved, and it's definitely something we want to continue as long as our parents do, and it shows that they do want it.
So one of our other successes we've had at this campus is our outreach specifically to middle school students. We've seen quite an influx in that grade level here on our campus, specifically 7th and 8th graders. And so what's been really neat is we're kind of weirdly blessed in a way where we have several of the middle school strong mind teachers actually on this campus. So the science teacher is here, the history teacher is here, and so that's been kind of sweet collaborative team that's been able to really work with these students. And then a little part of what's also successful about this is the teachers. So it's kind of a half-half here because Adriana took in 30 middle schoolers on her own and championed with them because she realized they had skill gaps in time management, in organization, in showing up, in taking care of cleaning their backpack out, for example. And so she really took it on herself to address those issues, and working with administration, they were able to buy these planners for all our junior high students, along with binders that she then put tabs in. And you can see here, this is an example of one student where they are setting goals as well as working on a weekly plan. What I really liked, and it kind of got a little cut off here, but down here at the very bottom, I'm going to step over real quick. Yeah. This girl down here wrote, "I still need help on checkpoint 7." So she even learned how to, not only am I writing my stuff in here, but now I'm writing notes for myself to remind myself what to ask my teacher when I get to you a week later. And so there's been some really, really neat success with teaching our middle schoolers how to be organized, how to check off when you complete something, and then even writing little notes for yourself saying, hey, remind yourself to ask this a week later. And so it's been a really neat thing. Our science teacher here has been working with them on science labs. I don't think we have the picture, but our history teacher has an incredible Google Classroom that he has set up to really help manage middle schoolers. It's been a really neat blessing, and it's definitely one of our successes this year.
We might have to have you and Adriana go around to our other centers and highlight this, because this is actually the first time I'm seeing this, and that's really awesome.
She championed that on her own, so it's a big shout out to her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it helps them too. Like, she constantly reminds them of the Google Classroom, because that is, I forgot that picture, but Nathaniel, who works here as a teacher, he adds so many resources in there, but then if they're just not checking it, or they're not, being independent enough to go into their Google Classroom, they're not going to get those resources. So then it's helpful in here to also remind them of that.
Yeah, that's great.
And then high school, we're really focusing on mental health. Just like the counselors were saying, they did mention we've been doing hikes, just getting students more involved with, the outdoors, taking a break, and then they're also getting to take this long hike with their teachers. So we've been sending 2 teachers out with a group of students, and it's just been really nice for them. It's been, I think we had about 10 the first time, and we want like a max of about 14, so we're hoping that we just keep those going and get them that break they need. We're also doing GSA club on campus, so just allowing students to come in for clubs, to get to know each other, and that's been really successful for them specifically. We've had about 7 students in that club now. And then the table talk is that the groups that the counselors were speaking on. And those have actually been pretty full here, which is really nice. Students are really liking it. They're open when they come in. They're open to talking. And I think it's just giving them that connection that they need as well.
I want to back up and just really quickly interject that we were able to use our school vans to take this group to, not school vans, our school vehicles to take a group down to Pride Prom in Santa Barbara, which is for every student who wants to come in Santa Barbara County. It was so special because on the way down, they were really nervous. On the way back, you should have seen and heard. They felt so, alive and happy, and they made other friends, and it was really heartwarming.
Yeah,
I
some
felt
of
like.
them didn't even know each other when they went. And
Right.
They just took that leap of faith to go.
Yeah.
And then they were all like chatting.
Oh, they're
like,
best
no,
friends
they're
on the way home. Yeah, it was amazing.
And is this close enough that you guys can walk from here, or do you
Yep.
have to, yeah, that's cool.
Yep. We did want to plan maybe one where we could go out, but yeah, so far we just like the idea of just walking down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something we have specifically here downstairs is our new CTE lab. And these pictures they just kind of speak for themselves. They're incredible projects that students get to be hands-on. We recognize, obviously, that the tangible tactile is really important to certain students. And it's great that they get a really wide variety in this class. Everything from cement to tile to woodworking to plumbing. And so they have these short kind of units where they will all hit each unit at some point through the year, but they're all kind of working on them in team-based couples, basically. And they've created some really, really neat things. Problem is they're like too big to take home, and so they do it, and this is one of their favorite things. They then do demo day where they've worked for weeks on this project, and then they get to take the big jackhammer and shred their tile, and yeah, it's kind of a sad thing. So they have taken some pictures. So we'll hit the next slide, and you can see a few more. And I'll just say I love the fact that you can notice there are females in this course.
Yes, love it.
That's just an incredible option for, I just love that they did that. And we've got a great teacher who had to step in midway and take this course on with kind of what we would call training on the run. And he has championed it and has done very well, Scott. And then this is just kind of a neat thing for our students. And we're hoping to grow this program. Sometimes when you start something new, you got to have some momentum behind it. But kids are buzzing about it, and so we're hoping to see some growth in this program in the following year.
Yep, and those are all of our highlights for Santa Maria. But yes, I think our major change this year was just that elementary and some more parent education, and reaching out to our families more to help them be successful here.
Cool. Thank you.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm really proud. I'm pleased. Okay, so you already have a copy of this. I'm going to, I think you guys have probably read through it, so I don't think I need to go through all of I'm not going to read through everything, but if you have questions from reading it, you can. I did want to update you on the coronavirus COVID-19.
Just go to that slide, because does it?
Oh yeah, sorry. Okay. Thank you. Sure. Okay. So we are obviously monitoring COVID-19. We're very actively monitoring it and what it means to us in our school. We are working with the California Department of Education, Santa Barbara County Education Office, San Luis Obispo County Office of Education, and we're also in contact with the
California Department of Public Health.
California Department of Public Health, but the Santa Barbara County Department of Public Health as well. And what was the organization? We were on a call for an hour and a half today with the emergency management group of Santa Barbara County. So there were all the superintendents in the county, also the community colleges, any other college that wanted to be a part of it, charter schools, the main leadership in those schools to kind of come together to discuss, because everyone is recognizing that when one school closes, parents are going to be asking other schools to close. As of right now, there are no cases in Santa Barbara County. We also have direction from the California Department of Education that unless we have a student or a staff member that does have a case of the coronavirus COVID-19, to keep operating. So they really want us to keep operating unless someone has a case in our staff or our families of our students. And even then, the directive is not to close, but to assess, you know, if
It's not
others
immediate
are at
closure,
risk.
then we'd assess it.
It's
And this
not
is-
an immediate
And you're saying
closure.
Santa Barbara, but it's both San Luis and Santa Barbara, right?
Right,
Yeah.
San Luis and Santa Barbara.
Okay.
Both have not had an active case yet.
Okay.
That being said, as we were all on the call, all kind of unified and keeping our schools open, especially for elementary schools where parents need to work. It's a, you know, colleges have a different situation, but elementary schools, if the student is at home, they're either left alone or the parent has to stay home from work. So that's what we're thinking about in the K-12 program. Ours, obviously, we're independent study anyway, so we have an easier way to continue operating throughout all of this. Right now, we still have, as you saw, the CTE labs. We have so many other classes that kids are coming in. I mean, we have a full house here of students working every single day. So we are monitoring that and making decisions based on what other schools are doing and what the advice from Public Health Department is giving us and the CDE. So we'll keep you apprised if there's anything to report. But Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara just went on online only. They're still operating, they're still open, but online only, not having classes. We heard from Jenny, her husband, she's one of the counselors. Her husband is a coach, and all of their games exclude the public. They're still holding games and but they're excluding the public. So
we're continuing to monitor, and we're
Mm-hmm.
going to stay connected with all of the authorizing agencies and take their advice.
Yep.
And then, of course, our backup plan would be to go to online at this point, but that could change depending on whatever the situation
And it's really nice
is.
to be in communication with what the other superintendents and the advice of our county department of ed. You know, it's really good to be in a community where we're all trying to support each other and do what's best for all of our families. So that's really nice.
And you sent out a letter to all the parents reminding of the etiquette and if they're not feeling well to stay home and wash your hands and all of those typical. And I see the hand sanitizer out and about. So, right, trying to remind folks if you're not feeling well.
And letting them know we still are open right now, and that, you know, we'll keep in communication with them if that should change.
Okay.
Which, with our program, it's not as scary for us because we already are operating in a way that we could probably continue to facilitate the learning, even throughout whatever comes.
Okay.
All right. So I'm not going to go too much into this. I don't know if you read all of this about what changes we've made based on what we saw with the decline in ADA. That has led to us having to update our budget, which you guys will be reviewing tonight. And really, everything's a good thing. This year, we started out with a whole new structure. It gave some teachers time to learn, not structure, but with new curriculum. It gave teachers time to learn everything new. I feel like it's
You do have a
positive.
little typo in here.
What?
Right. Oh, last semester we had more students enrolled than all of last year. Is that right?
Sorry. So last year at the same time. So
Right.
last semester, we had
So the fall semester, we
had
had
more
less, we had
students
more
enrolled.
than in all of the 2018-2019 school year? Is that what that means?
I think in comparison to the
No,
previous
last semester we had more students enrolled than last year at the same time. So at the first semester last
Okay.
year,
The
every month we've had more this year per month than we had last year. Sorry,
That's right.
wasn't very clear. It's kind of a run-on sentence, I think.
So the fall of 2018 was less than the fall of 2019. Is that right?
Students enrolled.
Right. Okay.
But ADA, average daily attendance was less
Yeah.
this year than last year.
Okay.
So we kind of it made us really evaluate what's happening. I think it's really good. It means, well, I don't want to get into all the,
Yeah.
I think
you've got it here.
I
We
covered it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we have some teachers that are really excelling at really getting these kids to pass, really, these kids know they care about them. I mean, Chris is a prime example. All of her kids were supported. She was able to make accommodations, and most teachers are doing this. So we're happy to report that. But some still need a little help. So we just felt that we needed to make some changes to make sure that all teachers are as awesome as Carissa. So, I mean, I don't know if I need to read through all this. I don't
Just
know
hit
how
the
far
highlights,
into
like,
this.
I mean, you put them in here, so what's the big takeaway that you want us
The
to know?
big takeaway is, I think really we didn't start a new academic probation policy. What we did is Janae put together supports in a binder to help teachers. Can you get the binder maybe and show them? So I think there was, people didn't want to put students on academic probation because they felt that was not nice, and the students would be upset and they felt like it was doing harm, when in reality what we found here is that the people who are holding students accountable, the academic probation is really in place. Okay, you're not succeeding, how can we help you succeed? What are we going to do to help you succeed? And I would rather Carissa and Janae talk more about it because they're the ones doing it daily, but is there anything you want to add?
I think the binder just helps clarify some of
Right.
the steps. It brought some organization that was, I think, necessary. It is a lot of paperwork, which is not necessarily a plus, but sometimes we have to do that. But I think the clarity of the reasoning behind it, both to parents and students, I think we've seen some success this semester with this new, not like you said, not a new procedure, just new clarity behind the procedure. The fact that our attendance is connected to work completion, that was an important aspect to really clarify to families. And speaking for myself, I hadn't done that before this semester, so that clarity was good. And as soon as you start to show parents that a 1 week absence is actually 5 absences by the state of California, their eyes will perk up, and suddenly I think we've seen some extra motivation behind families getting their students here. So I think just it brought clarity to it.
Yeah, and like I said, Carissa already for first semester was, all her kids were attending, so to hear her say she even felt like there was clarity is interesting because she was a master last semester. So just helping people who need support in this really understand, I think, is what this was for. So it's not punitive, it's all supposed to support. It's all supposed to be supportive.
I would hope that the students, when they're done, it would be nice to see, once they successfully get through the process, it's also a neat lesson to say, we all need help at different times. Right. And so this is the success of just stopping and asking for help because, most of us have gone through college or started a new job, and you have to say, I'm struggling here, and you have to go find the expert to help you get through it. And so it's a great life lesson. So hopefully they can see the positive from it, that's how
I've
you learn.
heard great stories of
So,
students who feel successful for the first time in their lives, I've heard lots of
focus on the
stories.
outcome and
Yeah.
right, and it's all a journey. Life is, we're all a work in progress. So, okay, thank you.
So, we're going to look at the end of the semester, see how we can better support some of these teachers who, we were finding from first semester, how is a student still enrolled after a couple, so each reporting period is 4 weeks or 20 school days. I think that's, like you said, what people aren't understanding. That is equivalent to 20 school days. So if a student's marked absent for the whole 4 weeks, it's 20 school days. But then we were finding there were teachers with 3 in a row, and I'm thinking, how are these kids, still here 60 days of no work? We are failing them. That is not fair to them that we have failed them in this way. So how can we support staff in supporting students? So that's really why we went back to weekly. And one thing I wanted to iterate is this weekly is supposed to be done anyway. And Olive Grove always took weekly. So when I say sample work, that's what we're providing to the state. They have to do all the work assigned. This doesn't mean, but we have to take samples of what they've done each week or month. We have gone to monthly. We felt going back to weekly would help support teachers who maybe were waiting a little too long to see if their kids were, because the kid doesn't come in for whatever reason. this helps keep them weekly, ensuring, I mean, people like Krista check daily, and they're contacting all their students daily, and that's really what we want to see. But, you know, we're just trying to encourage best practice. So, if there's any questions about that.
Good, thanks.
Okay. So we'll let you know how it goes at the end of the semester. We're hoping to get everyone back to monthly, as long as they've, you know, they're checking weekly, which they're supposed to be doing anyway.
Okay.
The students are supposed to come weekly. And I think, you know, okay, we'll talk.
Yeah.
School vehicle update. Actually, I want to go back to a point. We have quite a lot of questions pertaining to like working from home. You know, people, obviously, since we're a non-classroom based program, people are wanting to work from home. At this time, we're not set up to work from home because we need the supports on site. So I really wanted to kind of talk to you about that. I feel like as of right now, our school is set up as we're here in person. That's what we value. And so I didn't know.
Yeah, and it fits the academic supporting the students. So at least for teachers, the way that the school is set up would be to be on site. The board continues to evaluate things on a case-by-case basis, but in general, our policy is there might be a case basis based on someone's skills and their roles and responsibilities where it might make sense to work remote, but the majority of our staff and the teachers, especially credentialed employees, would be to be on site to make sure that we're providing the best service to the students. As the school continues to grow, there might be room or a potential for more remote working agreements or telecommuting agreements, but at this time, it's not a policy that's been established. But again, it's a case-by-case basis, and we might continue. So we don't want to say the door is closed, but we're not set up for that right now across all of the sites. But continue to assess.
Yep.
Yeah. Can I do just a minute here?
Yes.
Hello?
Hi, Jim. Go ahead.
It's just the things that we're talking about right now remind me so much of what I experienced when I first started teaching, which was a long time ago. Was facing a group of 25 to 30 kids. It didn't take me too long to be aware of the concept that there's 25 or 30 kids out there, and they're all different. And that's what actually attracted me to the whole concept of what you guys put together over these years, is that there are kids that don't belong in a classically traditional classroom where you got 25 students, and that's 25 completely different human beings, completely different, and with different needs and expectations and all those kinds of things. And that's what kind of keeps me with this whole thing. I'm not sure if I'm speaking out of turn here, but it just sounds like that whenever we get together and we talk, it reiterates to me what our school offers for all of these kids, that just don't necessarily do really well or expected to do really well in a classroom.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I mean,
I think that's one thing that most everybody who works here is
I don't know where I'm going with
associated
this.
it's just a reminder of what we do is we offer a diverse education opportunity for kids that might not be as successful in a mainstream classroom. So it's great that this school is available for those kids. Right, Jim?
No question about it. No question about it. I'm a believer.
Well, you were one of the first Olive Grove teachers, so you know what it's like.
Darren, I was the first Olive Grove teacher.
I know you were. That's what
and it was astounding.
Well, you started a legacy. All right, we're going to try to whip through this do you have something else you wanted to comment on, Jim, before we finish the?
Well, how much time do you have? No, I'm done.
No, it's important. That's why Jim's here, because he knows this job, and he helped start this for all of us. So we're happy to have him. So really
Yeah,
quick,
me too.
so the next slide
Also
really
to-
quickly.
It's great, this is a great piggyback on what the counselors were saying about how they use the vehicles,
Mhm.
and that was a good example of how we're using them.
Mm-hmm. For field trips. So I just wanted to make another statement that these are not used for personal use at all. I know we've had some questions
Yeah, and then where, is there a policy on the website? Did we post that? I know we had talked about creating one.
well, we created one and I thought it was approved.
Yeah, I thought we approved it too.
But then we were going to update
So-
it if there were any other updates
Yeah.
and concerns that were.
There's definitely policy that,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that I
what I
have,
thought,
that
right?
I think when we sent it to Lisa, yeah, I think we sent it out, right?
Yeah.
But it's not, not sure it's on the website.
So we'll double check
Do
with
we
that.
want it on the website?
Well, I think aren't
It would probably be
all
good.
of the school policies are posted.
Most are, not all of it
Okay,
doesn't.
that's good. Yeah,
But,
just checking. I don't know what the requirements are.
So we just wanted to reiterate, like you saw today, that they have been a blessing. They would never have been purchased if we didn't get our grant. They were approved by the grant. It's been really beneficial for field trips, conferences, and there's a family in Santa Barbara that has so many kids, the family can't get them to us. We transport them. We try not to get kids used to relying on us. That's why we provide bus passes, because then we'd be driving all over all the time and we don't have the time to do that. But there are specific cases that
Case by
we
case.
do utilize for that. And we have a lot of transfer of files and things between learning centers, or Candy travels in summer to the different learning centers, so they're able to utilize this. And lots of schools have vehicles where administrators get to use the school vehicles to do the same things we're doing. So it's really been a blessing, and we're really happy that we were able to receive these grants to pay for these. So did
Yeah.
you?
No, and just the second bullet there, that even though they're for safe, the vehicles are housed not on site. So for the safety of the vehicles and security of the vehicles, they are stored often at someone's personal residence or a safe location in the evenings, because we don't own the property where the schools are, and we can't secure them on where some of the schools are. So even though they're not stored here at night, they're not for personal use, and that's in the policy.
Mhm.
And people that use them, right, there's specific rules
Mhm.
on how you can use them, what they're
Correct.
used for, and they are for school use only.
Correct.
All right?
Yep.
Thank you. Yes, it seems
welcome.
they're helping to facilitate your curriculum and further support the education of the students.
Yeah,
is
and we're
the
not
key thing.
spending money on renting as much. We do, if we have like a large bus need, we
Right,
have
but
rented.
in
like,
general.
In
And
general,
it also
we
helps
don't.
in general, like you mentioned, some of the staff has to transport between sites, and so you shouldn't have to incur any of your own expenses for, to do your job, right? So
Right.
it just kind of helps. in
Because
that
Candy as
case as
HR
well.
has to go
So,
to all
yeah.
the centers, me as a
Yeah.
director has to,
Right.
Laurel has
Yeah.
to in her
Just
role,
being
so
part of your-
we share.
Yeah.
I have
And
just one
carpool.
more thing that I don't
Yeah.
know, this is just going to the board, but I just wanna make sure you know that we are on the DMV poll notice system in case someone, has
A situation.
situation, I don't know how to
Yeah.
phrase that, but, an issue with the driver's license, and it's flagrant that, they shouldn't be
Right.
driving, we're notified.
Right, well, and which is important for insurance reasons, and
Yeah.
again, for the safety of the students, and so that it helps with the policy, make sure we're not
Yes.
misusing.
Yeah.
And our insurance company has helped set up these policies as well, so that was beneficial. The only thing I have to add is pretty much the same with, we do have some new videos. You might want to go on and see, there was one highlighting our teachers, which Marissa is in, which is very cute. And now, not just in theaters, but apparently we've been hearing on television so we're hoping that.
So some of our videos and marketing are out in public, so you're,
Yeah.
like, before you go to a movie theater, they play on the commercials?
Yeah.
Oh, nifty.
So I don't know about about in Lompoc, but they
I don't,
are
well,
in
I don't
Santa.
go to the movies either way, so.
Yeah, I usually don't either, but.
The screaming.
No, I want to go to the movies in town now
Yeah,
to
it
see our
sounds like-
It
commercials.
was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Laurel's son said, what did he say about Maudie?
Because she's in it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh.
"It's Maudie, she's famous."
We'll get your autograph later.
Yeah.
She's actually been on a lot of videos now. Now they're using, our camera people are using it for their own usage because they like Maudie's.
Royalties.
Yeah.
Here's some royalties in there.
She had to sign a waiver. One important thing on Thursday, we are going to our final vote in New Cuyama. I mean, you're welcome to join us in the trek. It's a long trek, but we're not sure yet what's going to happen. So, I mean, I think we'll
When is
talk
that?
more. What?
What's the date?
Thursday.
Thursday.
What's the date? Oh, can we Thursday? Okay.
Yeah. So we'll keep you apprised on Friday as to what happened at that meeting.
Do you have any updates on how things went at the last meeting? Do you have concerns based on the data or how things went, or?
It went really well with the board.
Okay.
The problem right now is New Cuyama has had some
And just
operational issues that their lawyers are not their lawyers do not want to recommend they're overseeing any program. So that's really the main issue is he doesn't think they have the capacity to take on a charter.
Okay, or at least
So-
they have that concern, so we'll see how they vote then.
I don't think the board has that
capacity
concern. They
are you
feel
It's
they're great. So we'll see though if they take the recommendations. That's not going to affect our operations at any of our learning centers.
Mhm.
So we'll see. We'll talk more after.
Okay.
What kind of capacity are you talking about? What does that mean?
What do
Just
you mean?
their oversight.
Oh.
Yeah, just the oversight of that school district.
They're struggling a little bit to find quality administration out there. They've had a
Oh, yeah.
turnover. They did have something happen. There was a embezzlement that happened apparently. I don't know any of the situations. This was
Oh,
over
God.
a year ago. So their lawyers are worried about their capacity to oversee a charter school. Even though they already are overseeing one. But
Okay.
their lawyer didn't even know they had approved this other charter school. So that's part of the problem too.
Even though we kind of oversee ourselves, right? I mean, wherever we are.
Well, the CDE also does an
No.
excellent job. We're just in a culture of charter fear right now, so
Yeah.
Okay.
I put this in the last. I'm just wanted you guys to have it again to review where we're at on the LCAP that we're bringing to you in June as a public hearing, and then again for final approval in both of our June meetings.
Okay.
So this I am going to read through a little bit just to highlight what's happened with our budget right before we get into, well, not with our budget. Well, it does include our budget. Before Scott comes on and talks about our updated budget. So we finished our reporting period at the end of December. However, Gavin Newsom put in some weird bill, something that affected state board authorized charter schools because of us and what was happening at Santa Ynez. So this was to help Santa Ynez. Scott and me, I don't know, Scott, if you want to jump in because you were the one talking to the CDE, but Scott was trying to get clarification on how that looked to us and our school. We used to get in lieu funding from any of the districts that we had been denied from before going to the state boards, of which we have 5. We have 5 different charters. So we only went to those schools. Santa Ynez is basic aid. They were really upset to have to pay us for all of our students. And do you have a question? Scott, or is that
No,
you?
I think it's just Jim coughing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do I have a? No, I'm here.
Okay. Did you want to jump in at any time? Okay. Or should I finish?
I can if you want. Sure. So the bill was actually it was enacted because of you guys. So
Well, that's what Eric Premack
pat yourself
said.
on the back, but you
to speak if we're being recorded,
Yeah.
so.
Oh, yeah.
But essentially what it says is that any state board authorized independent study schools, the CDE or the state board will actually be paying your in lieu taxes, except for the case where you're in a basic aid district. And it so happens that 8 of your, well, it's really like 15, what was it, 11 or 14 schools through 8 different districts. We're actually going to have to bill them individually based on the students that live in their district. So the basic aid districts will now only be paying for the students that are in their district, and everything else will be coming straight from the CDE. So you won't be getting any in lieu taxes other than the schools that are in the basic aid districts, and then the basic aid districts we're going to have to invoice them individually.
Does this kind of go back
So
to
what that means
Buellton? Sorry, Scott, let me ask you.
You're not going to actually be getting any.
Wait, Scott, she has a question. Hold on. Scott, hold on.
Hey, Scott, I just have a clarifying question. So is this because in Buellton there were students who went to that school that might not have lived in that school district, so we would have had more students that Santa Ynez had to pay for, that those students wouldn't have been going to Santa Ynez normally? Is that?
There were some out of district schools.
No, but that's how this affects us, right?
I don't know why they. I mean, obviously they did this because of the lawsuits from Santa Ynez and Santa Barbara, just to avoid that. So what the law says, or the Ed Code now says, is that that the school districts will not have to pay the in lieu property taxes.
Okay.
That the CDE will take it over,
It's all right.
except
Let's just
for
So
districts that are
just
in
what's the
basic aid,
financial
still gonna have to
delta
pay
for
their
us, or
kids
what do we have to
that
do
are
different?
going to an independent charter school.
Okay, wait 1 second, Scott. So really what it means is there are schools that never had to pay us in the past, even though their students came to us. One big one is Sam Lewis Coastal owes us about, Scott, do you know, 260,000 or how much, or
Just, yeah.
some large amount, and so.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact numbers.
And Carpinteria owes us some money they never had before, and some other districts that never had before. Also, what happened is somehow Cuyama went into basic aid last year, and they owe us quite a bit of money from last year. So,
It just
So it
astounds,
kind of
it
shifts
just
that
astounds me
different
that
schools will owe
we were
us.
involved in enterprise, in private enterprise rather than education. It blows my mind. I mean, years ago I worked for Los Olivos School, and I worked for the high school locally too as a coach, and nobody ever said a word. I mean, there was not a problem there.
right.
I can't imagine there be this difference between what we offer as a charter school and what the local other schools
It's just
do.
money. It's just money.
I think it's hard for them to plan. It's hard for them to plan their
Well, I know
budget
it's about
if
money.
they think they're getting
I
this
know,
much
I'm
money,
wanking.
and then we come and say, well,
I
this
know,
many of
I'm
your
wanking
students
about
went to
it.
our school.
It's okay.
And so
It
then
just
money
blows my
has to
mind.
shift. So
This
they're-
is about kids.
it
This is
kind
about
of
kids.
puts it.
If we were into it for money, we wouldn't be teachers.
Right.
There
Exactly.
was money involved. Well, I mean, and what I was getting to is it's not going to affect your total funding.
Right.
So your LCFF amount will remain the same. It's just a matter of where that money is coming from.
Well, and if
So,
we can
you know,
collect
there's
on it.
always
Right, Scott? If we can collect on it too.
Legally, we can. We just have to do the steps, and we have to go do it's just different work, and then the schools who things are different with, they just have to understand how the law affects them and then how to get it to us. So it's just a change in policy, and now we have to work with those school districts to get the money shifted around. And it's something new to them that they weren't expecting when they did their budgets for the year either. So
Right. Exactly. It's just trying to work positively with them. So take it from here, Scott.
Okay.
Well, charter schools were a surprise to everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
We did so well.
Okay, Scott.
So are we shifting to another
Yeah,
agenda
I
item?
don't know what I was saying. I'm good. I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that it's not going to change the total funding. funding. It's just going to change where the funding's coming from.
Okay.
The rest of this was just the same stuff I've always put on in case you needed a refresher on the school funding and where
And
it
the
comes
data.
from and how it goes.
Okay.
So now we're going right into the meat of the board meeting, since Scott's on.
So let me just kind of check
Yeah.
and see where we're at. So then that gets
Sorry.
us through number 10, the reporting. There's no old business.
No.
So then the first thing under new business, Scott, is the approval of the updated budgets for each of the centers A through E.
Okay, so as you know, that we try and do budget revisions throughout the year so that we kind of stay on top of things. And this budget revision that we are presenting to you today is based on, for the most part, on your P1 ADA levels. So each period that the CDE certifies your attendance would be P1, P2, and then the P annual is at the end of the year. But for P1, this is the budget revision that we're doing. We will be doing another one at P2, and we fully expect that your ADA will rebound at P2 based on the changes that Laura is implementing to properly count the ADA and all that kind of stuff. But we do expect that it will go up. So we will be doing another budget revision, and we'll probably start that later this month or in April at some point when you get closer to the end of your fourth learning period, which would be your P2 levels. So basically, as soon as we know what your P2 is, we're going to get back in and do this again. So this is just a point in time budget revision. It is not very pretty. There is a loss in 3 of the schools. What we do is we go through your payroll, and we've updated all the payroll to include employees that have left, new employees that have been hired, and annualize all the salaries. We go through the individual expense line items in the 4,000s and 5,000s to see where we are and where we think we need to continue to spend money. And then we also obviously update all the revenues based on the ADA level. So the revenues on this one are based on your P1, except for a couple. We changed a couple of them because we knew that they were experiencing an influx of students, but they're really close to where your P1 ADA levels are.
So Laura, do you have any concerns with staying within the adjusted budgets that he's put forward for each of the centers?
No, I think we'll come out a little better than what we're projecting.
So
but
do
right
you think
now,
the budgets were conservative then? Is that what you're saying? Based on what
they're
you
not
think the
extremely
actual-
conservative, but they are conservative.
Enough then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we always try and be as conservative as possible, and it's impossible to especially with the independent study model to kind of predict where your ADA is going to be, but we do try and be as conservative as possible. Yes.
Okay. Any discussion or concern? Jim, any concerns after looking over the budgets?
No.
Okay. So
No,
I
no
move.
concern.
Thank you. I make a motion to approve the updated budgets.
I'll second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, and so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Aye.
Thanks, Jim. And all right. So have there? All right. So we'll just skip over. So the approval of the second interim reports for each of the centers A through E.
So the second interim report is there's 3 also reporting periods, and the purpose of these interim reports is just to report your financial status at a point in time. And for the second interim, it's as of January 31st. So you'll remember back we did the first interim, which was as of October 31st. These are as of January 31st. And the big difference is that we have included the this revised budget as our projected budget for the end of the year. So it is what it is. It's, your actuals, what your adopted budget was, and what your projected budget is for each school. So there are 5 separate interim reports. Each school has their own separate interim report, and those all just need to be submitted, and it's just a point in time.
Okay. I will move that we approve the second interim reports for schools A through E.
And I second. All in favor of approving the second interim reports A through E as agendized?
Aye.
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 Thank you. The motion passes. So we're going to take item 3 off of the agenda, approval of the education protection account resolutions.
Yeah, and it wasn't even posted. I forgot. I
Okay.
printed out the wrong.
Oh, okay.
That was.
So this is a wrong version of the agenda
Yeah.
that we have in front of us. All right, no
I
problem.
apologize for that.
And then, so approval of the school safety plan.
So I'll let Maudie speak to that.
There were just a few updates on there. Vicki had updated some emergency exit plans.
Okay.
That was updated on that, and as well as the bullying policy that was approved and adopted last board meeting. So we just added those documents in for the safety plan.
Thank you.
Everything else is the same.
And we have to do it annually, so.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the school safety plan. Any seconds?
Waiting for the delay.
No, I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah. Aye.
Thank you. So the safety plan is adopted. Thank you. And then the final agenda item is the SBE School Governing Board Compliance Review.
Right, and you have a copy of that in
Okay.
your
Mhm.
packets. Basically, the CDE just, this is the first time they've implemented it. They gave it to me, I think, last month. This is the first meeting since they gave it to me. They're just wanting to make sure that all of their state board authorized schools are aligning to all of these. We'll discuss each one, and if you have questions about it, then you can ask me, but, so one is the charter schools division has been provided with, and parents have access to the school's most current contact information for each governing board member and the 2019-20 board meetings calendar. So we have that up.
Mm-hmm.
Charter school complies with the pre and post lottery and enrollment forms guidelines. We will comply if we ever have a lottery. We haven't needed to in the past. Laurel and I are thinking we might need one in the future as we're,
Okay.
well, right now it's a teacher shortage, so it's hard to get teachers. We were able before to always keep adding teachers in as we had more students, so it's been more difficult for us to find that. Number 3, charter schools shall ensure that staff receives annual training on the charter school's health, safety, and emergency procedures and shall maintain a calendar for and conduct emergency response drills for students and staff, and that's what Maudie works with directors on doing. The charter school's climate and student discipline systems and procedures align with best practices. Charter schools shall maintain all data involving placement, tracking, and monitoring of student suspensions, expulsions, and reinstatements, and make such outcome data readily available upon request. We do not have suspensions or expulsions, but any of our academic procedure policy paperwork we have readily available if anyone were to question why students were exited. Beginning January 1st, 2020, the charter school complies with all federal and state laws related to public entities, including but not limited to Senate Bill 126 pursuant to the Ralph M. Brown Act, the Political Reform Act, the Public Records Act, and Government Code Section 1090. As a school, we always have. They've added some additional items as of January 1st, like recording meetings and posting them online, and having meetings, two-way communication with all of our locations, which we've implemented since January 1st. Number 7, the charter school implements its own uniform complaint procedure policies and procedures with appropriate corresponding forms and documents readily available to stakeholders at the school site and on the school's website that are compliant with federal and state requirements. So what we have done is actually to make it easier for anyone to find on our website, right under governance, there is a spot that says compliance, and there are 3 different pieces to that. One is our uniform complaint policy.
Mm-hmm.
One is our bullying policy.
Mm-hmm.
And one is the policy, the new charter schools policy that we're going to discuss in 10. So it's very easy for people to find and access.
Okay.
I mean, it was always there. It just took a couple clicks. Now it's a little bit easier and faster to get to. Number 8, the governing board oversees the development of and adopts the stakeholder engagement process, goals, actions, measurable outcomes, and expenditures in the local control and accountability plan, which is our LCAP, and annual updates and consultation with teachers, staff, administrators, parents, and students. And that's kind of, you guys have information about our timeline on that. 9, the charter school ensures that it follows all applicable state law regarding homeless and foster youth, including but not limited to AB 379. We do have a homeless school policy. We do have Xenia Palacios is our liaison, our homeless and foster youth liaison, just to make sure that their enrollment or transfer is streamlined to help get them into services faster. 10, the charter school has a form posted on their website for complaints pursuant to Ed Code 47605D4 to be filed with the charter authorizer. The California Department of Education has provided a template form for use by charter schools. The template form must be modified before distributing to parents and posting on the charter school website. One thing I wanted to state about this is it's brand new as of October. It is for if a family has a complaint that they were not enrolled due to a disability or for any reason. Then they can complain to the authorizer to let them know the school is discouraging me from enrolling based on, something that they can't discourage me from enrolling for. The second piece to that, or the third piece actually to that is, and I will pull this up because this has been one of my concerns since we got this. And I will let you see it so you can see where to go on our website. So if you go to our website, how do I get it back up here?
I think you want to just plug it back in.
Oh, I unplugged it. That's why. Okay. That's dumb. And the CDE just wants to make sure you guys are all aware of all of these policies and that we're following them. So, really quick, we're almost done. So, under governance, if you go to compliance, it goes to the 3.
This is the only thing I don't like about our website is I get nauseous if I look at it.
Okay. Well, I'll get off.
I'm trying to click on something and then it's moving around. Like, okay, that's too much. It looks really cute though.
So, this one right here, I'm going to click on the policy first so you can see what my main hesitation was with this. So these are all, you can't be discouraged for any of these reasons from enrolling. We can't request before enrollment any of the pupils' records. We do request the records, but they're already enrolled when we request records. This is the part that was, a charter school shall not encourage a pupil currently attending the charter school to disenroll from the charter school or transfer to another school for any reason, except for suspension or expulsion. We have an academic probation policy. That is not suspension, nor is it expulsion. So I spoke with our consultant at the California Department of Education. So this is wording that, so we can't change the form, okay, at all. So California Department of Education is who the complaint would be sent to for those things. And then they mark what it is that was okay, which is very good because that really is good for families to have. So, but we added this paragraph here before they click, reminding them that they've signed legal documents that are required by the state of California to be enrolled in a non-classroom based program, which is our board approved independent study policy. They sign master agreements agreeing to our academic probation policy and following the independent study policy. So we just are reminding them, this is not to be used if someone's exited dismissal due to the mutually agreed upon and legally required independent study policy, master agreement, and our academic probation policy. So we just, you know, the seat and our oversight agency know if they got a complaint that said that we had exited them unfairly based on dismissal or, I mean, for the reasons that they have on this complaint form, they'll know what to tell them because we have already had the conversation with them, and they agree with us that it's neither of those options.
They can complain that they were encouraged, but that the CDC knows to go back to, or CDE knows to, that what our policy is, and that we have a requirement for academic probation
and all
policy, so.
non-classroom based programs are the same and follow the same language. They have to disenroll if a student isn't turning in work. I mean, that's just not when the student's not in school. So they helped me with this. So we're compliant in all these areas.
Perfect. How come you didn't sign it? You use your electronic signature.
Well, I can still sign over that, but I'm so used now to signing it electronically that.
Very good.
Thank you. And that's it.
So is that something we have to approve?
Okay. I would say.
So it's just a review. So we reviewed it. It's not something that we would vote on per se, but just reviewed it.
You can just say, I mean, I would say at least make a statement in the minutes that the board reviewed each numbered item of compliance monitoring and certification. Requirements.
And reviewed how we're compliant. Okay. Well, that concludes our agenda, unless there's anything else. All right, so meeting adjourned at 7:17.
A record.